Hola amigos, it's me Paul, and I'm here in Bucerias, Nayarit, Mexico. And if you're like me, maybe you've been watching a lot of news lately, and you might even be thinking, is it time to move to Mexico? And I actually moved here a few years ago. So in this video, I want to talk about 6 reasons why it might actually be a good time for you to move to Mexico as well. Vámonos.
The first on our list, most Mexicans are not politically triggered by American politics. Most Mexican people I meet are not preoccupied with US politics. Whether you're someone from the left or the right, they don't really care, as long as you are respectful. Sometimes I sense Americans here want to make it clear that they're not from a certain party or political group, but honestly, Mexican people care far more about how you treat them and how you act than what your political ideas are. That said, US politics definitely still have an impact on Mexico.
¿Cómo se siente la gente aquí con la política de Estados Unidos?
Pues nos sentimos un poco tensionados,
Ajá.
ya que repercute mucho aquí también para nosotros,
Ajá.
ya que pues ustedes también forman la parte importante económica aquí en el centro turístico de Bucerias Bahía de Bandera, ya que para nosotros es importante que ustedes vengan a visitarnos, porque
Ajá.
también influye e importa
Sí.
su política de ustedes a nosotros, porque también nos suben como los aranceles y ciertas cuestiones pues que también pues afecta aquí también la economía.
Ujú, sí. Y también te importa la política de alguien más.
Pues específicamente la de su país,
Ajá.
ya que como pues somos un país que somos vecinos hermanos,
Sí.
pues sí nos llega a repercutir también a nosotros, y sí, claro que sí se siente un poco de tensión.
Ajá.
pues con la política que está actualmente.
Sí. Ok. ¿Y qué es, en general, qué es lo que realmente importa para ti?
Lo que importa aquí pues que todos tengamos como la tranquilidad, que
Ujú.
vivamos pues más tranquilos, con menos ansiedad.
Ujú.
Y pues aquí los recibimos con mucho gusto, aquí en Bucerias Nayarit. Siempre que ustedes quieran venir a visitarnos o vivir para acá, aquí
Sí.
en Bucerias,
Sí.
aquí son bienvenidos. Aquí los apreciamos mucho, y el tema en cuestión política, nosotros separamos la política con lo que es las personas estadounidenses, porque ustedes son muy amables siempre que vienen.
Ajá.
Y muy educados.
Sí.
Y respetamos mucho su cultura, y pues aquí los queremos mucho.
¿Y en qué trabajas?
Yo soy cantante
¿Cantante?
en los restaurantes.
Ah,
Ajá,
ok. ¿En qué
sí.
restaurante?
Canto en el restaurante, en el de Fat Boy 2 y en el
Ajá.
Chivero.
Ok.
Aquí en las letras de Bucerias, para cuando quieran venir, están
Sí.
invitados.
Qué bueno. Ok, muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias a ustedes.
I remember a few years ago, I saw a gringo at a taqueria wearing a shirt that said F Trump in bold letters. He was sitting down, so only the F part was visible. And I remember thinking, I don't want my daughter reading that offensive word on his shirt. And maybe even more importantly, I didn't understand why he was bringing US political drama to a taco stand. Another time, during the US presidential election, I drove through a nearby town here in Nayarit, and I saw a house with a giant banner supporting a US candidate. It gave me secondhand embarrassment. Imagine your neighbor in the US puts up a banner for a Mexican presidential candidate. You'd probably be like, why? Who cares? It just felt egocentric. Like trying to make your home country's drama the center of attention, even while living in someone else's. When we move abroad, there's often an unspoken agreement to absorb more than we project, to observe, adapt, and stay humble. Loudly broadcasting US politics disrupts that balance.
All right, moving right along to our next topic, our next subject. The vibe here in Mexico is much lighter.
When major events happen in the US, the tension in the air is palpable. People walk around on edge, conversations get sharp, But in Mexico, there's a lightness. There's less political tension, and for many, it's a relief. The people of Mexico are warm, friendly, and welcoming. Not to say that the US doesn't have friendly places. It does. But sometimes, even places where your politics match the local climate, there's still that underlying tension, that pressure to always be on or correct. It wears on people.
Mi nombre es José Enrico.
Mucho gusto.
Deseo que el mundo esté bien para todos. Está el mar aquí, Puerto Vallarta, la bahía de Banderas.
Ajá.
Y está Puerto Vallarta.
Sí,
Todos vengan para acá, por favor.
sí.
Todos.
Claro que sí.
¿Ok?
Sí.
Somos amigos, amigables. Un saludo de Juan Rico.
Ajá.
Vengan a visitar Bucería Nayarit. Se los aconsejo, Puerto Vallarta, Jalisco. Es lo mejor. Número uno. ahorita.
Ánimo.
Número uno.
Ánimo.
Adiós.
So the next one on our list is a heavy one, and that is you don't have to worry about US political violence when you're here in Mexico.
Living in Mexico, there's almost no threat of political violence stemming from US issues. Your neighbors will most likely be Mexican, and they don't care about American politics the way Americans do. So whatever your beliefs, you generally don't have to worry about someone coming after you because of their political views. That said, be mindful of fellow expats. It's often best to keep politics out of the pool, the cafe, and the community events. Bringing up politics from up north often opens the door to all the drama that comes with it. Leave the drama behind. Mexico definitely has its own challenges, but when it comes to American political violence, you're far removed here. And that distance brings a sense of relief.
Bonito.
Bonito.
Sí. Sol.
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 Okay.
Y ves Napoli, fresh fish.
Okay.
Viva la México.
Viva. Muchas gracias.
Buen día. It's on our list, and I say this with respect. I don't get involved with Mexican politics, and I think that's kind of the point.
Even though I've lived in Mexico for years, I don't feel it's my place to get involved in Mexican politics. I don't vote, I don't have citizenship, and even though I've lived here for a long time, I still consider myself a guest. And honestly, I'm kind of okay with not knowing all the details. Ignorance can be bliss, especially when you've been drained by years of political news cycles. I try to stay aware of local issues that affect my life directly, but I don't engage in political debates or opinions I don't fully understand.
All right, so this next one is language barrier, and sometimes not being able to communicate completely or at all can actually be a good thing.
Sometimes not knowing what someone thinks is a blessing. When you live in a country where you don't speak the language fluently, you're unlikely to get into deep political debates with your neighbors. Your conversations are simple, friendly, and surface level. You don't know their hot takes, and they don't know yours. Instead, your connection is based on how you treat each other, and that's kind of nice.
So with all the rains, you'll notice that the ocean gets a little brown next to these areas where, you know, the rainwater drains into the ocean. So that's why you might be noticing that it's kind of a brown color in this area. So this next one on the list, it might be the most important one. Is Mexico a good place to move or relocate to for just a short time while things cool off in the United States?
Not everyone who moves to Mexico is doing it forever. For some, it's just a pause, a season of peace while things back home feel out of control. I know people who came down here during the pandemic just to breathe. They told themselves, let's just go for 6 months, see how it feels. Some stayed, some went back, but nearly all of them said the time away gave them clarity and space to think straight again. And that's what I want to emphasize. You don't have to commit to forever. You just have to recognize when your environment is no longer serving you Sometimes the smartest move isn't political, it's personal. Mexico can be that buffer, that place to reset. A space where you're not constantly reacting to headlines or holding your breath. But I'll also say this, there may come a time when things in Mexico become too much, and going back to the United States will be the wise and safe move. And if you have that luxury, if you have the ability to shift, to relocate, to choose peace, I say go for it. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't to prove a point. The goal is to live well. And I want to be really clear about something. I still love the United States. It's where I'm from. It's part of who I am. I'm not saying Mexico is better, just that it might be better for some of you right now. This isn't about picking sides or waving a new flag. It's about listening to your own life, your stress levels, your relationships, your peace of mind, and realizing maybe I need something different for a while. Maybe I need space to breathe. Mexico has given me that space. And whether it's for 6 months or 3 years or just one long reset, I'm grateful for what I've found here. So no matter where you are, the United States, Canada, Mexico, somewhere else entirely, I'll leave you with this. Love your neighbor, live with peace, and don't be afraid to change course if you need to. Thank you for watching today's video. Please like, share, and subscribe. De mi familia a la tuya, Dios te bendiga.